Hey there, lads and lasses. This here, of course, is Thunderhand64, coming at you live from the west coast of the United States here on a Sunday afternoon. It is a little bit past 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Okay. I just heard that coming from Kaachee.
I forgot I got like nitro free for like 1 day, and that I forgot I made that.
Also, son, I think your mic is going through your webcam and not your microphone, because it sounds super jank. Yeah. Anyways, that can only mean that it's time for Kaachee Time. Before we get too much into Kaachee Time, I would like to give a shout out to Kaachee's older brother and my eldest son, the mighty Biggie Cheese. It is his birthday today. Happy birthday, son. Okay. We're working out Kaachee's audio now.
Oh my god, bro.
Yeah, it sounds awful. It's still on webcam, yeah.
Oh,
That's better.
Okay,
There it is. It's back. Oh, now we lost it again.
oh,
Okay, no, there it is. We got it. Okay, it's cutting in and out and stuff. So we're probably going to have to go over and try a different USB port or something. Okay, I heard that again.
Okay, does it work now, or is it?
Seems to be working now. No, it's cutting in and out.
oh.
Okay, like I just heard that.
Yeah.
Okay, I can hear that.
Hello.
Okay, I can hear that.
Can you hear me like without me cutting out?
I think so. I think that's stable now.
Okay, fine.
All right. Yeah, we've got a lot of work we need to do our Kaachee system. What we're waiting for is for the family to go to Taiwan and then for me to return before they do. And that's my only chance I get to work on anything at all around here. And so when they're gone and I'm home alone, then PC and Coffee and I are going to make some major changes here. As far as the network, the Wi-Fi, and all that stuff, and Kachi's PC is going to get an upgrade. So, all right. So, Kachi, what are we going to work on today?
There's this comic book I've been wanting to work on for a long time now. So, yeah, I want to work. I like now is like my real only time to actually work on this. So yeah.
Right, because most of Kachi's schoolwork assignments have come to a close now, and he's just in the last, God, I don't know, maybe a week and a half.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then school's over for him. So most of his major projects have been wrapped up, and so Kachi has a little bit more time. All right, so this comic book, is it at all linked with any of the games like Missionary or Dummy
Nope.
Defense?
It's like, I mean, it does take place in like a military, like, I don't know, like space, like it involves the military, but it like isn't related to missionary. So no.
Okay, does it use any of the same characters?
No, they're
okay.
all original.
All right. Let's switch over to your display then. All right.
All right. So here are over here. So I modeled it in Roblox Studio first to get the general idea of what they should kind of look like.
Okay.
I don't really know names, and I'm still working out the power system. But this guy's the main character.
Cool.
This is like his it's like the first like side main character. Like he's part of the main cast. Like this is the first like side character.
Supporting
I guess.
cast.
And then these two get introduced later on. And this guy Shadow over here, he's the bad guy, but like I didn't get in the frame, so.
All right.
So basically, how I was thinking on how the power system would work is basically you gain your power by via dreams. So like if you have a dream, you have a chance of getting that power, and like whatever your worst like fear is, that becomes your superpower if you're able to like pass the trial that is your dream.
Okay.
So, as you can see, this guy's arm is kind of like getting torn off. That's because his fear is like mutation of his body, but his superpower is to mutate specifically only his right arm. So you can change it into anything he wants.
Oh, that's kind of cool, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, so this guy is that guy. This guy.
Secondary guy. Okay.
Yeah.
By what means does his arm transform? Is it technology or magic or?
Oh, it's just like magic. It's like it's since you get it through the dream. That's how he gets it.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
I still really haven't figured out the other characters yet. I want to do something with like weight with this guy. Like he can like I don't know. Like he could take like a marble and make it weigh like a ton. So.
Okay.
And, like his fear is being crushed to death.
He can affect mass or okay. All right.
Yeah, affect mass. So his fear is being crushed to death. That's probably what his fear is. So that's why he can affect mass.
Okay.
Yeah, but the other two, this guy, I don't really know. I want to do something speed, like velocity related with this guy.
Okay.
And him, I have no idea what. Yeah. So these two guys come from the same faction, but these two guys are like completely different. Considering the camo these two have are different from these guys, so.
All right, so Kaachee is using a Windows PC. He's got Clip Studio Paint that, he's been working with quite some time now. And he's got the Wacom Bamboo tablet. Yeah. And I forget the exact model. It's an older model of, actually an ancient model of the Wacom Bamboo tablet. It's a smaller version. I think it's the CTL470. There you go.
Alright. I genuinely don't really know how I'm gonna write the story yet. All I know is that that's just the power system, and I made this because I started watching JoJo's, and I'm like, I really need to create my own comic book series. So I'm like, yeah, this will do. So it is slightly based off of Stan's, more primarily part three's version, where it's like based off of the tarots, but like dreams. Yeah, I think I made this idea during when I was watching part three. I just like hadn't put things into motion till now.
Right. And
So
again,
now I know a lot more about JoJo. So
and that's just available time, right?
yeah. Yeah, but I don't really know what to do for names. I'm not really good at making names for my characters.
Well, one of the cool things you can do for names is if you can come up with um, a theme or something for names, it makes things a lot easier. Like if you think of JoJo's, right? It's mostly like the rock bands from that era, right? And so that makes coming up with names a lot easier now, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, they went with that kind of naming theme, right? Like if you said, okay, I'm going to do ancient Irish mythology or something, then you come up with the names just Nuada, Lu, all of those names come right out, right? If you do
Yeah.
something like, your favorite writers, then Zelazny, names like that just come right out, right? So
Yeah.
you might want to think about that, son, right? Think about some sort of like if you had like favorite comic book artists or favorite manga artists, then the names come right out. So
Yeah. One good thing about having doing this while streaming is that I have you and yeah, so like that makes it a lot easier.
Hey, I'd like to welcome on in Soup. Oh my God,
Oh,
new enemies, he says.
No. Oh yeah, by the way, I finally developed my eyes in drawing where it's not just the this anymore. They actually like I only did this so I can like get more expression and so you know where they're looking at. That's the only reason why I did that.
Okay, I can see now a little bit. Yeah. All right, so you have the
Yeah,
top
but-
of the eyelid, the minimalist top of the eyelid, the minimalist bottom of the eyelid, and then you have the pupil. Yeah. Okay, that's cool.
I still wanted to keep it simple though. Like
Yep.
it needed to be at least a complex enough for you to be able to tell where they're looking at.
Nice. Excellent strategy, son. Because it helps with clarity, right? Sometimes, if when you get too many lines in there, right, and you're thinking detail, information, then it gets too hard to see clearly, right? And you actually
Yeah.
wind up obscuring what you're trying to convey, right? So
And also, it just makes my life a lot easier being able to draw like simple faces.
right, and that's also like an animation style too, because animation, you got to get the most across with the least amount of lines because it's just so much work, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and like where you're drawing a comic book by yourself, that is a heck of a lot of work. So anything you can do to trim the work down,
Yeah.
valid strategy.
Yeah, this guy, I definitely want to make him like mass. Because I want to make it simple enough where they can use it in really like unique ways. Like I want to give them simple powers so they can use them in really cool situations.
Yeah, and they're really versatile, right?
Yeah.
If you get a good power, it can be really, really useful. I think the Japanese are actually better than the Americans and other groups of comic artists. They're really good at that because they can take a power that would seem really silly and do the coolest things with it, right?
There's probably some JoJo stands that are like that. Oh yeah, like Shigechi from Part 4, his stand is like just a bunch of like yellow ball things, but he's able to make like a fortune off of it. And one thing he was able to do was he was able to put like he was able to put like beer into Josuke's and Okuyasu's bloodstream, so then they would get drunk, so he couldn't fight him. Like that's just so. Like, but okay, I'll see if I can get an image of Shigechi over here. Like, you look at this guy looks so stupid. Hold on. I don't want to look at his. I was about to say something that was a big spoiler, but like, I mean. Yeah, like look at this guy, bro.
Oh yeah, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and let me see if I can find his stand.
What's the character's name again?
Shigechi.
Oh, Shigechi.
Look at his stand. He just has like a ton of these little guys, and he's able to like beat like Josuke and Okuyasu. Okuyasu literally has the power to erase like wait, what is it? What can he erase again? I think he can just erase anything. Hold on. He can erase space, transport objects, and obliterate a broad area before it. He can literally erase space, and he got the stupidest user ever. So he could technically stop time if he wanted to, but he just isn't that smart.
So Soup is asking, by the way, who are those goobers? Soup, he's literally describing that right now.
Oh, which ones? The guys I'm drawing? Or
I think so, yeah.
The guys I'm drawing? Okay.
Yeah, he's been talking about that for like 15 minutes.
Yeah, it is like my comic book character. So I'm going to draw a comic book, and I still, like, I'm not fully done with the story, but these are going to at least be the main characters. So basically how they gain their power is they get a dream or nightmare, whatever you want, and like it's like a trial, and they have to survive the trial, and if they do, they gain their worst fear, like as a superpower. So, for example, this guy's worst fear is like a mutation to his body, like I don't know, or something that affects his body, like getting his arm ripped off. But like his superpower is to mutate his right arm, so he could literally change it to anything. So yeah, and then this guy, he can affect mass. His fear is being crushed to death, so his power is to affect the mass of an object. So he can like throw marbles at someone, and then the moment it makes contact with the enemy, he could just like make it super heavy and then kill them. So. I don't know if I'll make it so he can like actually like affect his mass. I might do that, but I'm not sure. Yeah, one good thing about not being like a Shonen Jump manga creator is that I actually can take time to write the story, unlike them, because they kind of can't. They have to like make it weekly, so I have an advantage.
I'm wondering how much of this is going to be completed when you're in Taiwan. Like how much work you're going to do when you're in Taiwan.
Probably a lot. Considering that I have a lot of free time during Taiwan, I'll probably be able to do a lot. I'm not a draw. Yeah, I guess.
I don't think we can install your Clip Studio onto your laptop because that's Mac and that's a different Clip Studio.
Can Mac not support Clip Studio?
Oh no, it absolutely does. In fact, Clip Studio is made almost for Mac, and just making it for PC is an afterthought. But I would have to buy a separate key for that because.
Oh yeah, because it's a different device, right?
Yeah, it's a different device. So, we bought the one for PC. We'd have to buy another one for Mac.
Okay.
Which isn't completely out of the question, but for right now it is.
Yeah, I wouldn't really want that anyways, since I'm not going to be like using it that much, I guess.
I suppose, but it'd be cool to have in Taiwan, right? So.
Yeah.
You could bring your tablet along and stuff for it. Soup is saying, can't believe they censored Dummy. which I think is dummy defense,
Really?
which I know nothing about. So, and I usually do. So,
Hold on, let me check.
by the way, who is they?
Roblox probably.
Really?
No, they didn't. You liar. Soup, you've lied to us like two times, like yesterday and today. Like you lied about there's gonna be like this massive outbreak on Discord where people are gonna send you random stuff, but like, and then that never happened, and you found out it was a lie, and you told everyone, and then you're telling me this. How are you gonna lie twice, bro?
Let me see. Soup says those 4 goobers look gamer.
I have no idea what that means. Alright. I don't know. I don't know what I want to do for this guy. Like, he's the main character. I want to give him, like... I feel like I should give him something basic considering he's the main character. Like, I want to give the side character something, like, really unique, but give, like, the main character something really basic. I don't know. Or maybe I should give the main character something, like, really cool or, like, unique.
As far as the power is concerned?
Yeah, the power.
Well, you could go that route with it. Honestly, I like the power. He has a lot. But
no, the main character, this guy.
okay, is that not the guy with the arm?
Oh no, the guy with the arm is the guy on the right.
Oh, that's the second one. Yeah, sorry, that was my mistake. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know what I want to do. His initial power was super speed, but I was thinking about it like that's not that good.
But you
I
could
wonder
do another thing you can think of is super speed, but in a different kind of way.
Like how?
Like there's different kinds of super speed. There's like just physically being able to move fast.
Like time acceleration?
Yeah, there could be time acceleration, right? Where they're really not moving fast. What they're doing is they're manipulating time. They're like slowing down time for everybody else so they can move quickly.
Whoa.
So, some of them have been doing things like that, right?
Yeah. Yo, I might do something like that. Like he thinks it's super speed, but then like at the end, like the final battle, he's like, "Oh, I can slow people down," and then he gains the ability to like slow people down. To, like,
Right.
He chooses who he wants to slow down.
That's kind of like in the X-Men movies where Professor X like does the mental freeze thing and he freezes everybody.
Yeah.
And it's like, if you would think about that, if you were one of those people, that would seem like the people who aren't frozen would be moving around very fast, right?
Yeah.
But actually it's not. It's you're slower, right? That's been used before a lot, by the way. But you know, it's that kind of thing where if you think, okay, super speed's been used in a lot of different ways but you know, just think, you know, maybe there's a different way you can think about that, right?
Yeah, I want to think of something. If you need.
Soup saying,
I would rather. Oh yeah.
Soup saying, I just realized, why does the third guy look like the old Aridus Tower?
It kind of does, but not really.
Created by the same person, maybe? Maybe that's why.
But yeah. Because, you know, I don't want to do a part 3 thing where, like, all the stands are really basic. Like, the main cast had a pretty basic, like, set of stands. Like, Star Platinum was just, like, really strong and fast. Magician's Red, fire. Like, Hermit Purple, like Spider-Man Strain. Like, Spider-Man's web shooters. Like, I mean, I don't want, like, really basic, like, powers for the first part, at least. If there's even going to be a second part, if I even get around to making a second part, but... Let me think of something cool. I'm a doodle. I'm gonna just draw him, and then I'm gonna think. I'm gonna see if I can think of something cool.
I'm looking up stuff I want to talk about in relation to this. Um,
Yeah.
this is right. I'm looking up Jujutsu Kaisen stuff.
Ooh, Jujutsu Kaisen.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
whatever.
curses and stuff. Because there's one I'm thinking of in particular, and I forgot the name of the character.
Oh, was it? Oh, I know who you're talking about. Nanami. Is it Nanami? Or are you thinking of a cursed spirit or a cursed energy cursed energy user?
I think a curse energy user.
Yeah, Nanami.
What does Nanami do?
Like,
Remind me.
he has like the ratio.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now see, that's a really, really cool power. And it's so like no one's done that before in that kind of way, right?
Yeah.
So you just take something that's really, and that seems like it's a really ordinary thing. Oh, it's from my math class or whatever. But if you think about it, the ways he uses it is so cool, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I still can't think of a cool power from.
One of the other things you can think of for cool powers is like if someone, like a character in a story, had like almost a cool power, and you're like, dang, they should have done that, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Like this power is like almost cool. They just, why didn't they do this with it? Why didn't they, you can think of something like that too. And of course, the man himself, the man of the day, eldest son, oldest brother, older brother, Biggie Cheese.
Oh, I just thought of something cool. What if I give them like to rotate anything at any speed?
Happy
Like,
birthday,
any
Biggie.
access.
I'm sorry, Kaachee, what was that?
Oh, like what if they had the power to like rotate anything at any like on any plane, like any plane, like XYZ, they could rotate it as fast as they want.
Yeah, like just
Or
make
if,
things spin.
Yeah.
Because, son, the entire universe works that way.
Yeah.
The entire universe is things spinning. Planets, stars, galaxies, all of that.
I realized like the potential that power has. I should give
Oh,
it, like,
yeah. And the coolest thing about it is it sounds like silly and simple, right?
Yeah.
But if you think about it, like I just said, the entire universe works that way, son. And it's got massive power. Spinning things is like, oh my God.
What if you like spun? Could you use spinning to like accelerate time?
Yes, black holes do that.
Yeah. Oh yeah, okay. I'm giving it that to the main character then. He has the power to spin anything. Rotation.
Yeah, and you can just keep it simply that and then work out the details of how it works exactly. You know, God, you can do all kinds of things with that, like with torque and stuff like that. It's super cool.
Because it's even like in physics and stuff. Like the way things fall, it falls on like spinning.
You know, and if you had, and if he had some object, like even some simple object that he uses to induce a spin on something. You guys just creating new characters. Yep, that's what Kaachee's doing right now. This is a new comic book that he's working on, and he's creating new characters for it. Let me see. Orc is in. What does Sigma?
Okay, so like what? I should give him like something silly though, like something silly that he has to use to like.
Right. It would be really cool. It would be super cool.
Like in his military camp, like when he goes to sleep, he like cuddles with a teddy bear. But like when he wakes up, and he has a superpower. He has to spin the teddy bear to spin any object. That would actually be so peak. Okay, hold on, I'm gonna do that.
Could be something like that. Could be something like that. Could be like Chinese yo-yo kind of thing, right?
Yeah. Oh, that would be so cool.
Where it's like, yeah, Biggie made me think of that.
Yo, okay. This guy's power, right hand mutation.
I'm not real 11-1. Or is that just nonsense characters he's just hitting? Or is that 11 factorial and 1 double factorial?
I think he's just spamming letters.
Like there's so many things that you could do with you know, I know I'm the math teacher and stuff like that, but son, like factorials are so cool. Like you could do, like, I don't think you've studied that in 8th grade yet, right?
No.
Like a factorial is a product of successive factors. Like 3 factorial is 3 times 2 times 1. 6 factorial is 6 times 5 times 4 times 3 times 2 times 1. So if you were doing like super speed or something, right, you could do something like that.
Yeah.
You know, where they could multiply their speeds by factorials or multiply their strength by factorials or delay time by factorials or something like that. You know, and so you could do the same kind. I'm not suggesting you do that, by the way, but it's that kind of thinking, right? Where you take an ordinary power, but you can put a different twist on it, right?
Yeah.
Like the spinning power, right? There's plenty of characters who do things like that, but to induce forces like that is a real cool thing. And to use something silly to induce the force, right? Or something silly, or just something fun, right?
I might change the mass guy where he can, it's like mass conversion, where like he can like input like an object's mass into a different object's mass. I might do something like that, but I might keep it simple though and just make it so he can like change the mass. But then, like, if he had like a group of marbles and he like flips, like and like one, like, if he has like a handful of marbles and he has like one marble for here, he can throw it and then put all the mass of that marble into that one marble and then like kaboom. That could be cool. Okay, I'm gonna make it mass conversion.
Yeah, that would be cool because characters can do that with increasing mass and decreasing mass and density and stuff like that. They can do things like that. But to take it from one thing and put it into another is cool.
Yeah.
In some kind of way, right? That's a different way of doing that. Like, I can't think of any characters right off that do that. Like, changing mass of things, yeah, I can think of a lot of characters who do that. But changing mass that way, no. So there's like a cost to it, right? Like, if you're in a battle and you're using that, you have to look around for something to convert to its mass to put into something else. That means you're going to sacrifice that thing, right?
You could put a human's mass into something else too, and just make them like super light, and then you can like just pick them and then fly away.
which would kill them,
Yeah.
right? So,
Yeah. So they literally could just one shot anyone, but I think
so
I'll take away the power to like do that to humans. I think I'll only do it so I can only do it to like non-living things.
yeah, you could, or you could do something like have the ability to do that to humans or anything, and have that like that's a problem.
Yeah.
You got to control that and like be careful with that. If you just like reach out and grab something and you're not thinking about it, you could grab some people, you could grab your teammates, you
Yeah.
could and you kill them, right? So you got to be super careful with it.
Now this got it. I don't think it
Gojo
Well,
had a Gojo in Jujutsu Kaisen, and I keep bringing that up, but because it has so many cool powers the way they use them, kind of uses the Xenos paradox thing, right?
What do you mean?
The Xenos paradox is, if you're crossing a distance, you can never really get there because first you have to reach the halfway point,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
you have to reach the halfway point of that. So now I don't think he uses it quite so directly as that, but if you
But
could,
it's like along the lines.
yeah. So if you could directly use Xenos paradox, somebody couldn't reach you because it would have to reach the halfway point, but it would have to reach the halfway point of that first and the halfway point of that. And it wouldn't be like if somebody fired a bullet at you and you could direct that at it.
Hold on. I'm gonna add that to a list of powers.
Yeah, you could do things like that. And it would just be, it'd be ridiculous, but it would be cool, right? I mean, but things spinning, son, that's a really good idea. All you have to do is look at a little physics and a little math, and you'll see, wow. Wow, man.
How do you think someone could beat the Xenos paradox? Like, get around that?
Calculus.
Calculus? Someone has the power of calculus.
Limits. Somebody could have limits. They could zoom through it with limits.
Oh.
Biggie knows what I'm talking about. That's why we had to come up with calculus, because we kept running into problems like that where we're trying to compute something, but we just have these infinite algebra or infinite geometry steps, and we can't get to the number that we need. And the math is failing, so we had to come up with a new kind of math for that. So Leibniz, Newton, Barrow, all of those guys, came up with a new math, calculus, and specifically limits that allowed us to zoom through those infinite steps and get right to the limit. That's a super basic way of describing that, so it's not 100% accurate, but that's like a synopsis of what it is, right? So if somebody uses that Xenos paradox, you could have somebody else counter that with limits. And if you think about that, I have the limit ability. That's cool.
Yeah.
It sounds cool. It has a simple kind of name to it, right? Xenos paradox sounds cool, right? So,
Yeah.
you could have things like that, right?
What if I gave someone like the power to like manipulate wavelengths? Like, how powerful could that be?
Oh my God, son. The universe
you can, like,
runs. The universe runs on rotation. It runs on reality. Runs on waves.
Like if he had the power to manipulate like sound wave, he could like change the sound wave to make it like so high pitched, like it blows up someone's ears. Like,
Yeah. Now, there's a lot of characters who can do that, right? But it doesn't mean that you shouldn't use it. It's just, can you think of a unique way to go about that, right?
maybe like he could only like maybe like it's dependent. Like the specific wavelength he can affect is like dependent on like the current situation that he's in. Like
Perhaps, or he has a
Maybe-
certain range of like frequency or
Oh, yeah.
something that they can work with. It's not just any one, right? It's not just the full wavelength, right? He only has like a narrow range. And so
Yeah.
that's a cool kind of thing because you need a medium. If it's going to be sound, you need a medium. It has to travel through some sort of material.
Yeah.
That's why there's limitations for those sound manipulation characters when they're in space, for example. Right?
Yeah.
Right? So it'd be cool that they would have to use some sort of object or wear some sort of technology or something to help expand their frequency range because they can only do a certain frequency range, right?
Yeah. I think it's something like speed for this guy because he's based off of the Cloaker from W vs. Noobs. Well, Payday 2 too, but like they have the exoskeleton which allows him to like it accelerates their speed so they can drop kick someone. But I want to do something like that, but I want it to be like more unique instead of just like, oh, he's fast.
Yeah, like you want to think of a different way to be fast or at least have the effect of being fast. Oh, you know what would be cool, son?
What?
This would be cool, but again, you don't have to use this, but I'm thinking about this. Remember when I was talking to you about transformations?
Yeah?
And we were talking about how the transformations in the x-axis looks like it's opposite from that of the y, but it's really not because you're moving the background.
Yeah?
What about instead of the character moving quickly through something, the character could just move everything else past him really fast?
Okay, yeah, I'm using that then.
Because if you think about it, right, to like the rest of the universe, it would look like
just
he's
seems like he's
moving
going-
very, very fast.
Yeah.
But actually, he's moving everything around him fast, and he's kind of stationary, right?
So, like, how would I describe that name? It's
Oh
like,
my God, I don't know. That would be hard. We'd have to think about that, right?
like moving the background, like he can just like move everything else. Like, how would you call it? Like reality shifting? I don't know.
Yeah, I guess that would sort of be described as reality shifting, right?
Yeah.
And
I'm gonna say it.
the limitations on that is like, hey, I can only do that a few times because, it is the entire universe.
Yeah.
That would be like a super OP power, right? And it has to
Yeah,
be
or maybe he could he can only move it. Like that's all he can do.
yeah,
And, like he can only do it like a little bit, like a certain amount of distance. Like
right.
he can shift it like I don't know, like 20 feet per use. I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
know.
like so many meters, right?
Yeah.
Certainly
Right,
only
yeah,
do it a
yeah.
certain number of times and only under a certain amount of certain distance, right?
Yeah.
Like it would have the effect of like you traveling from here to your school, right? Boom, in one shot like that, right? When actually
Yeah.
you're kind of standing still and you're just moving the whole universe over so you're at your school now.
Yeah.
Right?
Alright.
So
like,
it's kind of
reality.
like teleporting, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like teleporting.
Yeah, I'll definitely use that like when he explains his power, it's gonna be like he's gonna use the graphs by explaining it. But how would that be his fear? Like, oh, I hate the graphs, and then that's my biggest fear, graphs, and then that's
Could
his
be.
power.
It could be, or it could just be like a fear of colliding with things. Because if you're thinking about it, you have to have a clear path there, right?
Oh yeah. Fear of collision.
Yeah, you could have dreams of like you're colliding with things, right? Or what's a common dream that people have is just like moving slowly, like
Oh yeah.
you're super sluggish, right?
Yeah.
Like people have like, I have dreams like that, like I'm fighting like I'm trying to fight, but it feels like I'm fighting underwater. Like but they're really slow, right? They're super slow, right? Or people that
Yeah.
fear like they're running away from a monster or a bad person or something, but they're running really slow and they can't run fast. So you don't have to have like the specific thing in there, right?
Yeah.
Hey, welcome in, Tezivu. Drawing
I find it like
intensifying.
I just find it like really coincidental that like their superpower is their greatest fear.
That's really good, son. I think that is.
Yeah. I should like give like a super like cool, intimidating guy like I should give him like the power to grow like like 8 limbs to be like a spider because he has like arachnophobia, even though he's like this huge buff guy. Like, I should give someone like a silly, like some really cool looking guy like this silly power.
Yep.
So then like because he's afraid of that.
Yep.
Like, oh, I'm afraid of clowns, so my
Yep.
superpower is to be a clown.
Yep. Yeah, you could do that, son. I was just going there, believe it or not. You gotta have one character, and he looks like a mega super aura guy and everything, and he's got just the most absurd power.
Yeah.
And it's because he's like not really afraid of anything, and his one fear is like some ridiculous childhood fear, like you said, like fear of clowns, or like there's a talking teddy bear or something like that at a TV commercial that scared him because the uncanny valley kind of thing.
Yeah. All right, so that's our main cast done. Wow. Okay. So the power of right hand mutation. His fear is any mutation to his body, but he can only change his right hand into anything he wants. Main character, his power is rotation. Maybe his fear is like.
Well,
I don't know.
well, people do have fears of like spinning like on merry-go-rounds and stuff like that. People do have fears of that.
Maybe he's scared of like getting stuck in a washing machine and just like.
Or a whirlpool, like he has he's on
Yeah.
a boat and he's sucked into a whirlpool in the ocean.
Yeah, so his power is rotation.
Yeah, some people have fear of spirals. When they look at spiral-shaped things, it like freaks them out.
And then mass conversion, so he can't. His fear is being crushed to death, but his power is to convert any mass of an object into a different object. And his power is reality shifting, so he can like move reality but not himself, so he can go further in distance. And his fear is what did we say it was again?
Like slowness, like being sluggish.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Okay, now we need to make the
By the
big
way,
bad.
you don't have to do it during the stream, but you could just, since you're going with a fear, son, you could just look it up on the internet and get a list of phobias.
Yeah.
And just look at those and see what people are afraid of.
Yeah. Alright.
And that would give you like endless characters, because there's so many things.
Yeah, like you could be so absurd.
Yeah, like there are fears of there are phobias about holes, for example. If there's a lot of dark holes in something, and anthropologists think we have that to protect us against insect nests, like bees' nests or wasps' nests or something. We developed that fear because of that. So that pattern of like holes and stuff, right?
Apparently,
There's all kinds of phobias like that. So
there's a fear of dentists called dentophobia. Like how would you like would you like kill someone via like doing a dentist operation on their teeth or something like that? Like you just like rip their jaw open with like dental
Or you could just.
It could be a pretty cool power.
It could be. It could be. All right, what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to take a short 3-minute break to run some ads, and then we will be right back.
All right.
Okay, and we are back. Let me unmute Kaachee here so he has a. There we go. Nice hat, son.
I already have a hat. Okay.
So let me
So
switch
this
back over to
guy-
your screen. There we go.
So this guy's our bad guy. So he basically like uses his power for evil and not good. So yeah. But I don't know what to get this power. So I'm gonna just draw. You know, one thing I realized is that every single JoJo villain after Dio in Part 3, their stands have something to do with time.
With time?
Yeah, like the world stops time, bites the dust, which is a ability that Killer Queen has. Like, whenever it reveals the identity of Yoshikage Kira, it resets time back to 7 a.m. when Hayato wakes up. King Crimson can see into the future and alter time, and Pucci can accelerate time so fast he can reset the universe. I would tell Part 7, I mean, because Part 7, Dirty Deeds Done Dirt Cheap. Yeah, that is the name of the stand, by the way. I'm pretty sure, it shows you alternate realities of itself.
Yeah, that's from the AC/DC song. Yeah.
Yeah. But I don't know what to do. I don't want to give him time-stopping powers because that's kind of boring, in my opinion. Unless you do something to it, that'll make it cool, but I want to give the main villain a ridiculous sounding power, but it's actually really good on paper since he's a really sharp guy.
Yeah, those are the best ones, huh?
Yeah, I just don't know what type of power that would be. Let me look at the Phobia list.
Yeah, I'm surprised chat isn't as in on this because I expected a whole bunch of stuff from chat on this. Chat, I'm not calling you out. I'm just saying. You know, it's always cool to see the manga and the anime and the comic book artists when they take something like from everyday life and they make a power out of that.
Yeah.
That's always really cool.
Do you think the fear of blood, would be a cool power, to manipulate?
You're too far away from the mic, son. What are you saying?
Do you think, the fear of blood, you can manipulate liquids?
Oh, yeah.
Do you think that would be... Do you think that would sound good on paper?
Yeah. It sounds great. Fear of blood is a really cool thing to put in there. But you could think of different ways to use it, right? Like the character can do things with their own blood. Or they can do things with the blood of others, right? Now, there's a lot of characters, again, who do that, but if you think of a cool way to do it, right?
Scopophobia, fear of hospitals. How could you do that?
Okay, so I imagine you've pulled up a list of phobias, right? That you're looking at right now.
Yeah, I'm looking at it. So, fear of hospital. What could you do with the fear of hospital?
Well, one really easy one that you could do right away, son, is claustrophobia.
Yeah, but because you can manipulate sizes of rooms, I guess.
Or you could just, your hero or villain could just form a box around somebody and just close it in on them or something, right?
But that's sounds too good on paper. Like it gotta sound like really bad on paper. but
Yeah,
be
yeah, you're right.
really
You're right.
good.
That's you're looking something. Yeah, like the fear of hospitals is looks awful on paper, right?
Yeah, but I want to come up with something cool for that. Like,
Right. But then you want that's what you're going for, right? And it actually turns out to be a cool power, right? Yeah, that's a tough one. Nothing's coming to mind right away for that. Would
agoraphobia, fear of open spaces or crowds. What could you do with that? Like, fear of open space. Ooh, maybe you could like send you to an alternate reality with like just you and him in like an empty void because he has the fear of open spaces and crowds. But then that sounds too good. But he doesn't
yeah.
have any other power. That's the only thing he can do.
Yeah, or it could be just like a really small like pocket universe dimension, right?
Yeah.
And they can just send you there, right? And you're there and you're like in this big open area. And you could put the crowd in there. A crowd of what? Like zombie people or something, and they're all just
But
staring
I
at
think it
you.
would be cooler. I think it would be cooler if he has to go in two and it's just the two of you, like either in an open space or in a crowd, because then
Yeah.
it makes it seem more stupid because it's like, well, he can't. That's his only power, but like he can maybe he can control it at will. Like there's no cooldown. He can just like bring you in and out.
Yeah, and he can only do that to one of you at a time or something. And again, only for a certain
Yeah.
amount of time, right? But again,
Yeah.
I don't think that's what you're going for, though, right? That'd be a cool power for somebody else, but you're looking for something else, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you want it to sound like a ridiculous power, but then it's cool, right?
Yeah. Like Thanatophobia is literally the fear of death. I mean, like that. I mean, so,
I'm sure you could do.
glossophobia, fear of public speaking. What could you do with that?
Yeah, because that's
Yeah, but like JoJo and Jujutsu Kaisen already kind of does that, where like it's like a speech power where whatever they say, it affects the person to what they say it to. Like,
or
say,
everybody
say,
within a certain radius, right? Like, what's
yeah,
the jujitsu? He's my favorite character, actually, who can only say the
the
ramen ingredients
yeah,
or something.
yeah, Toge, I think it's name is.
Yeah, yeah. I love that character. That's so hilarious.
Mysophobia, the fear of germs. What could you do? Yo, maybe he could like infect you with like any disease, but like, or maybe he can only infect you with a certain disease that sounds bad on paper, but he can affect it in like as much as he wants. Like he put as much as he wants into if you touch that thing.
Right.
That he infected.
There are characters in comic books who do that, but again, if you could think of a cool way to do that, right?
Yeah. Like, what if he used like a firearm and then he touched each bullet, and when he shot it, not only would you get hurt from the shot and you're bleeding, but because it makes you bleed, it can get into your bloodstream, and then you would just like get super infected and die.
Yeah, and when you're talking about germs, right? It's not just things that can make you sick and everything. There are a lot of like single-celled organisms that are just kind of neutral
Yeah.
that you could subtly use or manipulate in some kind of way, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one's not so obvious though, but it's something to keep in mind.
I just want to find a power that the rotation thing would have a hard time beating, but really hard. Since rotation is like such a good power that you're gonna need something like crazy, but it needs to sound dumb.
trying to think of something.
Me too.
Yeah, if it's that hard to think of, that means you need to set it aside for a moment.
Yeah. That's the thing. I kind of need to do that like right now.
Well, that means move on to something else, right? What else do you have there on your list?
Eclophobia, fear of crowds.
Yeah, it's kind of related to the other one, though, right?
Huh. Ooh, maybe acrophobia, fear of heights. Maybe that could. Maybe he could do something in a way that somehow would affect the rotation thing, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
That would be a pretty cool power. Like, it might just seem like he can just create pillars that go really high, but you could use that in a lot of situations.
Yeah, you probably could, like, just levitating things, right?
Yeah. Or like you could just like stomp on the ground and multiple pillars come up and they like crack you and then you get crushed, or you get hit by one and you fly away and die.
I mean, it's a very cool looking power, right?
Yeah, but it's too good on paper.
Yeah. You want something that sounds ridiculous, but it's actually really cool.
Bananophobia? Bananophobia? Your bananas.
Yeah, that has all kinds of.
Ooh!
That would be very problematic.
Frigiophobia.
Oh, what's that?
Frigiophobia. Frigiophobia, the fear of concern of hypothermia. Freezing.
Yeah.
Maybe that could do something against time, but that's like just basically like stopping time, though.
Kind of. If you think about it, you're slowing down like molecular or atomic motion, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, that's what something's doing when it's getting cold, right?
Ooh, bibliophobia is a fear of books. Maybe I could do something with words, like something like they can't speak properly. But then, what would that do against like rotation, bro? Or maybe that could affect the mind, but that's just like mind control, and that's too good.
That fear of books would be a really cool thing, though, son.
Yeah.
Because it sounds like it's, oh yeah, they've got this, fear of books. What's that? What is that gonna nerd? What are you gonna read me to death or something? But maybe you could do something like that, right?
Like, you know how like Gojo's like infinity, when he uses it, it gives them the entire knowledge of the universe.
Yeah, it could give them the knowledge of something, right?
Yeah, and then that's just like so concerning to them. They just like they get so overwhelmed they die.
Could be.
Ooh.
It could be something simpler. It could be something simpler like, it could like tell you what's going to happen, like in a few moments from now, right?
Yeah, but King Crimson in Heaven's Door basically
does that.
Well,
yeah.
Heaven's Door like opens up and lets you read minds, but King Crimson predicts time but then erases it. So I might do that gives you the entire knowledge, but because that could give the rotation guy like mental problems that he couldn't use his, like maybe he could take away his knowledge of knowing how to use the rotation power.
Yeah, and it like goes, you could have it like the way that it looks is that the knowledge comes out of the person and goes into the book, right?
Yeah,
and then they don't have it anymore, but they do, right?
Yeah, I'm doing that then. Because that doesn't really sound good on paper, right? Like,
Yeah, oh, he's got
Power
the,
of
the,
books.
the fear of books or something. But then he has this book with him, and he just opens up the blank page at you, and it's like your
Yeah,
knowledge leaves you, and it gets printed in the book, and then he closes it. Right? That
yeah,
would
that's
actually
a
look
cool.
pretty cool, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's a really cool power. All right,
Yeah. Okay, son. Yeah. All right. Get that down. I just hope that nobody sees this stream and takes all your ideas.
Don't
Copyright.
worry,
Copyright. Copyright.
don't worry. We already are posting this. Yeah, we could copyright them.
Yeah.
This is just like Rohan's ability, Heaven's Door, but like just on crack. Like this is just like that, but so much better. Like I haven't really seen that this type of power in JoJo's. Like I've seen something kind of similar to this, where it's like they can trap objects in paper, but it's not like knowledge.
Yeah. And it's not like they're taking something from somebody, right?
Yeah.
I think that's a cool idea, son.
Yeah, and then like I could create a cool effect where it's just like the not like the like if they first introduced their power and like when they explained it, you could see the words of that like going into the book. Like that would be a cool effect.
Yeah, and the whole thing would be to manipulate your target into like thinking or manifesting that thing you want to take from them.
Yeah.
Right? Like if he's not using his rotation power, you can't take it from him because he's not thinking about it or
Yeah.
right?
They have to be like actively thinking about using their
Yeah,
rotation
and then
powers.
you can grab it from them and put it in your book, right? It has to be conveyed somehow, right?
Oh, that's so cool. Okay. Like you just like that's so powerful. But rotation is too, but like wow, okay.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
it sounds
that's like
ridiculous too, right?
yeah, it's just like, oh, here's a book. What is it gonna do? Take your power. That's what
Yeah,
I'm gonna do.
some nerdy's approaching me with a book and stuff like that. What's he gonna do? I'm just gonna take him for a spin, right? And then it's like, oh no, I forgot how to do that. I don't know how to do that now.
You know, another thing he could do is like take the knowledge of somebody but give it to someone else, but he can't give it to himself. He can only give it to other people. So like he can switch people's powers around. So like if he got like a stupid power, like I don't know, like the ability to what's the dumb ability? Like generate bananas. I don't know. Like the power to generate bananas. He could steal that from someone and then steal the other person's power, but then give them the power to generate bananas.
That might be a good different powers for somebody.
Maybe. Like he could like store powers and give it to other people. Like swap it
Yeah,
out.
like he can take your powers away, but he has to replace it with something else. He can only switch powers. Because there are plenty of characters who can take powers away. Right?
Yeah.
You know, like Rogue from the X-Men, she can steal your powers, right?
Yeah.
But now she has them and you don't. So it would be cool if you could switch powers because now you have to think about that, right?
Yeah.
Like you said, if there's somebody who's got a really stupid power
Yeah.
and they're along on the mission and they're like, my power is generating bananas. Well, why am I here? You know?
Yeah.
Right? That would be hilarious. They just like, wait for it. And then right at the right time of the battle, they switch the banana power with the...
You know, maybe the book guy, it's like the Death Note kind of where he can write names of people who has their powers. Like if they see him, if he sees them use their power, he can write their name in the book, and then that allows him to switch it with anyone in the book.
Yeah, that could be, right?
So it's like, I don't know, like Gerald or something. Oh yeah, he has the power to like punch someone really hard, but only on a Tuesday on like 2 p.m. or something, like, and then give that to like the main character. It's like, what the heck, bro? It's like Wednesday at like 10 a.m. How am I supposed to use this power?
The other cool thing about the other knowledge, stealing their knowledge idea that you had is, just because you have somebody's knowledge doesn't mean you can do something with it, right?
Yeah, I know. That's what I was. That's what I was originally gonna say. It was like he could take the power, but he can't use it for himself. It's just like in the book.
Yeah, and so you see it, you read it, other people can read it, but it's like they can't use it, but
Yeah.
neither can the character, right?
Yeah, because he.
Neither can the target, right? So
Yeah. It's just like, how could they overcome that, man? Like, how could they beat that?
they'd have to get the knowledge back somehow, right? So you would have to build in some sort of mechanic where they could get it back. And
Yeah.
so there's a danger, right? Like if they get a hold of the book or something,
Yeah.
right? Or there's somebody who has a reverse kind of power that they can use. So they need to get the book away from them and get it in the hands of this person so the power can be restored, right?
Yeah.
And that person who can do that is the book guy's biggest fear.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, that would be so cool.
Right? That's his
Yeah.
biggest fear. Oh no, not him or not her. Oh no. If they find my books, I'm screwed. We're all screwed.
I already got some really good ideas.
I think you've got excellent ideas.
Okay, so I just need to name the characters. Right hand mutation. I'm gonna have a guy who has a mutated hand.
My suggestion is that, like I said, you come up with a theme for naming.
Yeah, that might make it easier.
Yeah. And you know what? You don't have to make it descriptive of their powers. I think that's a limiting kind of thing.
Yeah.
Like if because then you're thinking the book guy, and I have to call him, oh, bookman or something, or it's too limiting, right? So if you come up with a different sort of naming convention, like JoJo did with the band names and the music, right? If you could think of some sort of theme like that, it just makes naming them a lot easier. And it's really cool because now you've got the character's name, right? And if it's not attached to their power is kind of a surprise now, right?
Yeah.
Because it isn't given away by their name. Right? Like if you hear the name the Human Torch, you already kind of know what he does. It's not really much of a surprise.
Yeah.
If your name is Iceman, right? Not much of a surprise there, right? Gee, I wonder what that guy can do.
And I might base it off of video game characters. Like
You could. You might get
I
some.
could name. Oh yeah, what?
You might have some copyright issues there and stuff like that.
But I mean, I'll just use ones that are like really vague, like
Yeah,
every game, like a normal person would have.
I suppose.
But I mean, Rocky got away with it, so
Kind of, yeah.
someone who has a mutated right arm in a video game that I'm thinking about. I think Orca, if he's still watching, he knows Gregor from Limbus Company. So I could literally just name this guy Gregor.
Yeah, because there's no real indication that that's from Limbus Company, right? Gregor's just a public domain name, right?
Yeah. Max. Who's like in? What if I named like that guy like? But like when I think of mass, I think of like gravity. For some reason, I think of Gravity Gun from Half-Life 2. And I think of like a Half-Life 2 character like, I don't know, Barney. Maybe I can name him Barney because that's like a really vague name. I don't
Yeah.
think,
Yeah, you could do that.
All right.
Again, it's a public domain name, right? But when you get a theme like that, son, it makes it easier to name people, right?
Yeah.
you don't have to think so hard about it, and it's cool. If people are in on it and they understand what it is, then they know where you get the names from, right?
Yeah. Rotation. Well, that's just the gravity gun from Half-Life again. I think Gordon is a little too obvious.
Maybe, but if you didn't use Freeman,
Yeah.
you could just use the Gordon part.
But that's already two characters that start with G, and I'd rather just like have it be more. I could name it Adrian. That's actually a good name. Actually, no, I'll give Adrian to this guy because he's green. Like Adrian Shepard is green.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a green camouflage like Adrian Shepard. So Adrian.
Yeah, they don't have to have like the Americans. They don't have to have like a superhero name. You can just call them by their names, right?
Think of other games like what other game could have like rotation. Yeah, because I can't really use Ultra Kill since like most of the character names are either like demons or just straight up like mythology, like Minos.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah.
so I don't really want to use god names for these guys because I mean they're just like normal people. So.
Yeah, not only that, but it's going to be confusing, right?
Yeah.
Because if you just grabbed a name like from Greek mythology, Zeus, it would be like, why is this guy, can he shoot lightning bolts or something? Or is he I don't get it. Why is, so yeah, that would be confusing. Yeah.
And plus it's like, oh, this guy's Gregor. This guy's freaking like Zeus. Like, oh my god, their names are already so different.
Yeah, and it's so weird, right? So, yeah, if you named them after like Greek gods, it would be too confusing because people would expect them to have those attributes and stuff, right?
Yeah.
And then when they wouldn't, it would just be too confusing, right?
I already had a name. Oh,
Orca's chiming in with a, what does Sigma? Again.
Gregor. But anyways. If I just like named him like...
Yeah, if you had something that was like a theme that was like completely disconnected from that, it makes it better, right?
Yeah.
Like the music really has nothing to do with the characters in JoJo, right? Not directly. Right? So
okay, so we have Jack, Gregor, Barney, and Adrian. That's our group of 4 guys.
Works, right? It's easy.
Not this guy. He's like a book nerd in a video game, I know. I think Yi Song is a little too obvious. Like, Yi Song, that's a little too obvious. I should name it like superpower like Solomon. Okay, I actually got the name. This takes place in America, so might as well give them American names.
You could, but they don't have to have American names, right? And if you're thinking, oh, well, if they have the foreign name like you're thinking Esong, it depends on how popular that name is in their country, right? In their culture.
Yeah.
So if it's really popular, then go ahead and use it because it, it's...
But at the same time, there isn't really racist because they're all just like gray. And I'm going to keep it that way when I
Yeah, don't worry about that stuff, son. Don't worry about that stuff.
I was just like such a smart video game character.
I am Steve.
Just name him Solid Snake. I think that's a little too obvious.
Yeah. Snake wouldn't be, though.
What is Big Boss's real name? I actually don't even know.
Yeah, neither do I.
Big Boss. John. His name's literally John. Or Jack. What? Wait, I thought Jack was Raiden. Bro, what? Oh, did Raiden take Jack as his name? Oh. Okay.
Like if you're thinking of Metal,
Oh yeah, what?
if you're thinking of Metal Gear Solid, right? Like Metal is kind of weird, Solid is kind of weird, but Gear isn't bad.
Yeah.
You know, it sounds weird at first, but then if you use it a couple times, you say, no, actually, that's kind of cool. You know, so, you know, that's how you get away with things like that.
I like his name Snake, like straight up.
Yeah.
Snake. Alright. So I finally finished it. So, yeah. I'm satisfied with this.
That's actually a cool place to finish it on because we're about 4 minutes to the end of the stream. So
I'll start drawing the comics soon. Actually, no, I gotta start writing it first so I know what's gonna happen. Then draw the storyboards, then draw the sketches, then ink it, and then maybe color it. I don't know if I'm gonna color it. But yeah.
okay, would you let's wrap things up because it is Guga's birthday today.
Yeah.
And I do have a little bit of practicing I got to do before we call him, so.
All right.
Okay, son. Hey, that was a lot of fun, man. That was a fun jam session.
Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna go.
All right, thanks for the stream, son.
Yeah.
We switch on over to the cam scene. And there we are. Okay, hey, thank you everybody for joining us today on Kaachee Time. It's always super cool whenever we get a chance to do a Kaachee Time. Let's see if there's anybody on. I'm tempted not to raid out today. Like I said, it is Biggie's birthday today, so. But I just can't help myself. If Lone Star is streaming, I need to raid out to him because I don't get to do that too often. So we are going to raid out to fellow buffoon and good friend Lone Star. And of course, I'm not allowed to say the last 2 digits of his name because he'll get insecure. Let's do that. So let's type the... There we go. There is the raid message in the chat. You can copy and paste that into the chat if you would like to join us along. Let's set up the raid itself. Let me make sure I type that correctly. There we go. That's better. And there we go. The raid is counting down for our good friend Lone Star. Family-friendly viewers, just to be reminded, his stream is meant for, intended for mature audiences. There's some language. There's some language. There's some language. and some shenanigans and stuff. But Lone Star is super, super cool. We have a lot of shared community, so chances are there'll be people in there that you are familiar with. Just remember that we do this Kaachee Time stream every Sunday from 4 to 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Our next stream will be on Wednesday. That'll be from noon to 2 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and that will be Generations. We should be in Generation 5, the survival world, building the drowned farm in there. We've made a lot of progress on that. It is so, so cool. So please stop in for that stream. And the stream after that will be Friday from 11 a.m. to 1 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and that will be Buffooncraft SMP. And we will continue with our main build, slice by slice place with our 3D print in Minecraft, so please join us along for that. Okay, we are raiding out to Lone Star now. Bye for now, everyone.